For years, Mark thought his marriage to Karen was rock solid. They had been together for over 2 decades, raising their only child, Emma, now 20 and attending college. As far as he was concerned, everything seemed to be going well. His love for Karen was as strong as ever, and they had built a comfortable life. But over the past few months, something changed. Karen began dropping hints that their relationship had grown stale. She wanted to spice things up, but Mark didn't pay much attention to it. He assumed it was just a phase, a moment of insecurity that every couple goes through. Emma had noticed her mother's behavior as well and often spoke to Karen about it privately, but never let on to her father what they discussed. One night, while the family sat down for dinner, Karen dropped the bombshell. She wanted to open their marriage. Mark was blindsided. "I think we've grown in different ways, Mark," she said, her tone too casual for such a serious conversation. "I love you, but I think we should allow each other to explore other people." Mark stared at her in disbelief. "What are you talking about? You're saying you want to see other people and stay married?" Karen didn't flinch. "Yes, I think it will be good for both of us. People do it all the time." To Mark's horror, Emma chimed in. "Dad, it's not a bad idea. I've been talking to Mom about it for a while. It doesn't mean she doesn't love you. It's about experiencing freedom for both of you." Mark's heart dropped. Both of them? His own daughter, whom he trusted and loved, was helping Karen plan this all along. The next few weeks were hell for Mark. Karen was quick to act on the open marriage agreement. She started going out late at night, wearing clothes she hadn't worn in years, texting and laughing with someone constantly. Mark knew what was happening but tried to convince himself that it was temporary, that she would come back to her senses. What hurt the most was Emma's involvement. She constantly defended her mother's actions, treating the situation like it was no big deal, and even encouraged Mark to get out there and date other women. She suggested he explore dating apps and take a break from the traditional expectations of marriage. But Mark wasn't interested in seeing anyone else. He had no intention of playing along with this game. The realization that both his wife and daughter were against him felt like a knife twisting deeper into his back. He started to feel isolated in his own home, and the relationship with Emma deteriorated as she increasingly sided with Karen, justifying everything her mother was doing. The final straw came when Mark discovered that Karen was not just seeing someone casually, she was having an ongoing serious affair with a much younger man. And worse, Emma knew about it. She had helped her mother cover it up, creating excuses for her, telling Mark she was at work or spending time with friends when, in reality, Karen was with her new lover. Mark was done being a fool. Mark's heartbreak began to harden into cold, calculated anger. He knew he needed to get out of this situation, but he wasn't going to go quietly. If they thought they could humiliate him, manipulate him, and still have him around as a passive participant in their twisted game, they were wrong. He began crafting his revenge in silence. He spent weeks gathering evidence, texts, photos, and financial records that detailed Karen's affair and Emma's involvement. He hired a private investigator who confirmed the depths of the betrayal. Emma was a willing accomplice in helping her mother deceive him, and Mark wanted them both to pay for what they had done. Behind the scenes, he met with a lawyer, ensuring that when the time came, he would have the upper hand. He also started preparing financially, slowly moving assets into private accounts that neither Karen nor Emma would have access to. Every move he made was calculated. Then, he planned his final act, the ultimate betrayal, exposed in front of everyone. Chapter 4. The Birthday Reveal. Mark decided that Karen's upcoming 45th birthday would be the perfect time to unveil the truth. Karen had been planning an extravagant party at home, inviting close friends and family. She, of course, expected Mark to foot the bill and play the doting husband in front of everyone, masking the reality of their broken marriage. The night of the party, the house was filled with guests. Karen was dressed to the nines, enjoying the attention, while Emma helped coordinate everything, acting as though they were the perfect family. Mark kept up appearances, smiling and making small talk, waiting for the right moment. After dinner, Mark stood up, tapping his glass to get everyone's attention. "I'd like to say a few words about my wife, Karen," he began, glancing at her with a look that made her smile falter. "As most of you know, we've been married for 20 years. We've had our ups and downs, but through it all, I've always believed in honesty, loyalty, and love." He paused, letting the tension build. Unfortunately, not everyone in this room feels the same way. Karen's eyes widened and Emma shifted uncomfortably. The guests fell silent, sensing that something was about to happen. Mark reached into his pocket and pulled out a stack of papers. "You see, for the past year, my wife has been seeing someone else. She's been having an affair with a younger man, and she wasn't doing this alone. Our daughter, Emma, has been helping her, lying to me, covering for her, and encouraging this behavior." Gasps echoed through the room as he tossed the papers onto the table. Photos, texts, and hotel receipts spread out for everyone to see. The evidence was undeniable. Karen stood up, shaking with anger and humiliation. "Mark, stop this." "No, I'm not done," he cut her off coldly. "This party is over, and so is our marriage. I've filed for divorce, and I'll be keeping the house. You and Emma can leave tonight." Emma began to cry, but Mark's expression remained hard. "You both betrayed me. You lied to me, manipulated me, and thought you could do it without consequence. Now you'll see what it feels like to lose everything." Chapter 5. Aftermath. Karen and Emma were left speechless, humiliated in front of their friends and family. That night, they packed their bags and left the house, now fully aware that Mark was no longer the man they could control or deceive. The divorce was swift and brutal. Karen got very little from the settlement, thanks to Mark's careful planning. Emma, cut off financially, was forced to fend for herself, realizing that siding with her mother had cost her everything. Mark, meanwhile, rebuilt his life. Free from the toxicity of his wife and daughter, he found peace, knowing that he had exacted the perfect revenge. He had taken away their comfort, their security, and their ability to control him, and in doing so, he reclaimed his own freedom.